Suletta goes on her very first date, and as you can imagine, it does not go well.
Powerful Nerdcast assembled!
Stay dandy, baby. Gundammit, it's time to take a look at another episode of The Witch from Mercury, an episode which is definitely filled with a lot of action scenes. And as someone who likes to watch a lot of robots clash into each other and make a lot of crazy noises and explosions, yeah, this is definitely the episode for me. But the character who really made this one has got to be the Ice Prince himself, Elan Ceres. But first, I would like to ask you guys, if you are enjoying my content, make sure to hit the like button. If you're loving my content, make sure to subscribe to the channel for more videos just like this one. Now it's time to talk about some Gundam. And yes, this episode certainly puts a lot of the emphasis back on the titular mobile suits themselves, the Gundams. Mysterious, sleek, and effectively the brooms of the witches in this series. Yes, the term witch has been thrown around a lot in Mobile Suit Gundam The Witch from Mercury, mostly being referred to those who use the Gundams or the Gund-Arm technology, and we get to see a lot of that in this episode. We already knew that there was a connection with Suletta and the whole Gund-Arm format, but that really gets taken to a brand new level in this episode when they spend a little bit of time with Elan Ceres, a character that I thought they were going to save maybe a little bit more for the latter half of the series, but no, they pretty much give us almost his entire main backstory in this episode. Of course, there's still a little bit of mystery there, but we finally get to see why he's so obsessed with Gundams and Suletta in the first place, and that's because he himself is an enhanced human being. Now, enhanced humans are nothing new to the Gundam anime franchise, but I really like the way that it's actually being handled here. It really explains why Elan himself is so, well, icy. His lack of emotion and one-tracked mind really painted him as something of a robotic person, and that's because he kind of is like half robot. He's one of the pet projects of Pale Technologies, one of the three major branches which are in the Benneret group. They're run by these nightmare-fueled women who simply have one goal: to learn about the aerial mobile suit. They are fully convinced that it is a Gundam, and they're gonna send Elan in to investigate. About halfway through the episode, you even physically see this, where you can actually see the cybernetics under his skin lighting up. It's honestly kind of creepy. And being that Elan is kind of an experimental human, he simply has no problem in going forward with this plan, but it definitely explains a little bit more of his obsession with the Gundams and with Suletta in general. I had a feeling when they introduced him, and I even said this in a review, that he really doesn't have a real interest in Suletta, more so the mobile suit that she pilots, and he's gonna go to crazy lengths to learn about them in this episode, and we get to see a lot of him in action. In fact, the episode actually opens up with him having a 1 versus 3 duel where he takes out these other guys in just an amazing fashion with a mobile suit that, I don't know if they ever name dropped it, but it's very simple and cool, but it's got these massive thrusters on its shoulder and it kicks all sorts of ass. And while this episode is filled with a lot of action, it still does take its time to expand on the characters a little bit more, and I really wanted more of that, as Suletta is now a part of the Earthian house, and we get to see her spending time with some of these brand new characters, getting her fortune read by that one mysterious girl who seems to see that there's some other person in her life, someone special. Not a brother, not a family member. Clearly, it's very much Elan. And before you know it, we even get to see that Elan decides to ask Suletta on a date. Not a real date, but pretty much all of the girls around her think that's actually what's going to be happening here. Some of them are jealous, some of them don't give a shit. And of course, Miorine is just super pissed about it. And big shock, it's not a date at all. It's actually a plan from Elan to try and get a hold of the aerial Gundam and learn its secrets. And at first, it almost seems like a great moment to bring these characters a little closer together because, again, Elan believes that Suletta is an enhanced human being just like himself, and he feels that maybe he could have a strong connection to her. However, when Suletta gives him permission to pilot the aerial, he realizes that that's not the case. He understands that this is indeed a Gundam, but Suletta appears to not be enhanced at all, and this is when he suddenly just loses his shit. Elan might have an icy disposition, but he seemed like he wanted to at least form a connection with Suletta, but in this moment, he almost outright feels betrayed, knowing that there's someone out there who's not a slave to the Gundam curse, as he likes to refer to it. You see, he's tied to these mobile suits, whether he likes it or not. He doesn't really have a choice, whereas Suletta seems to see it or live it in a completely different fashion. She sees it as family is simply just an extension of herself, something that she's not simply forced into, unlike Elan. And this is where he ends up breaking Suletta's heart. And honestly, it is heartbreaking seeing that moment where he basically calls her annoying and she almost starts to cry. Luckily, everybody's favorite Chad Gwail Jeddart shows up and he decides to challenge Elan to a duel for the honor of Suletta. Yes, she does seem to have many suitors. And that's when we get a really awesome battle between both Gwail and Elan, and they do have some pretty important stipulations. If Gwail wins, Suletta has to stay away from Elan, and if Elan wins, he gets to have a battle with Suletta. And then we finally get the battle, and this time Gwail's going to be using a brand new version of the Dilanza that we saw before. It's not rocking that awesome hot pink color scheme, but it does come with a really big badass battle axe that lights up. But it's Elan's brand new mobile suit which really ends up stealing the show, as we finally have another brand new Gundam in the series, the Gundam Pharact, which looks all sorts of awesome. It's got this sort of like stealth look to it with these dark navy blue color schemes, a massive beam rifle which can also be a sniper rifle, and not to mention, very much like the Ariel itself, it has these bits or drones which can move away from its body, but these drones have a unique ability where they can actually stun the mobile suit with these laser beams. Basically, whatever part of the mobile suit is touched by these beams will be completely out of commission, and there's a lot of them, and they're firing all over the place, so if you get hit by like 5 of them, you're pretty much screwed. And as good as a duelist as Gwail is, against the abilities of the Pharact Gundam, it just doesn't even matter, as Elan completely takes control of this battle, and it looks really damn awesome when he does it. He almost seems to take carnal joy in taking down Gwail, going as far as to not only immobilizing him and slicing off all of the limbs of his mobile suit, but by taking his antenna horn and not cutting it off, but straight up ripping it off of the head of his mobile suit, lifting it high in the sky like the freaking Predator just ripped a spine out of somebody. It's metal as hell. And then of course we get our final stinger of the episode, where we get to see that a new duel is going to be taking place between Elan and Suletta, and in his stipulated rule, basically, he wants the Ariel Gundam. If he wins, that Gundam belongs to him, and that is not going to look good for both Suletta and her mother, who I'm sure has some crazy grand plan for the future. And speaking of Suletta's mother, we also get one more small scene which I think is very important for the future of the series, getting to see that this other mysterious woman who is overlooking Elan also seems to have a connection with Suletta's mother. Maybe they used to work together at this old facility, maybe they learned about the Gundam technology together when they were younger. It's hard to say, but there's clearly a connection here, and they even refer to both of these pilots simply as witches. So, holy shit, so much stuff going on in this episode and stuff that's got me really excited here. So, first and foremost, Elan has immediately become the most interesting character of the series, in my opinion, just from this episode. I knew there was going to be something special about him, but I'm just honestly surprised they're deciding to bring it out so early on. And I think I especially love how he just feels so betrayed in this episode, because the whole point of his character is that he's emotionless. He feels nothing. He never shows anything. And finally, when he has an opportunity to maybe let his guard down a little bit, or maybe even show some vulnerability, he just lets it all go and gives in to pure anger, realizing that the person he's been so obsessed with this whole time is nothing like him. A character desperately trying to find a connection with someone, only for it to be ripped away, realizing that there's really no connection to be had there at all. And that's sad, because he's looking at it in the most robotic way possible. I mean, if he would just allow himself to give into his human qualities, maybe he could find something in a relationship with Suletta. But for all we know, this whole cybernetic enhanced human thing doesn't allow him to act human, and that immediately makes him a sympathetic and tragic character. Now here's the other thing, there could also be a twist here. For all we know, Suletta is also enhanced as well, just maybe on a brand new level unlike anything we've ever seen before. Either that, or she is basically the new type of the series, the next evolution of mankind, which is essentially perfectly tailor-made to pilot these death machines. But let's go ahead and wrap things up. This is probably the best episode of the series thus far, and they give us a great mixture of everything that I think makes The Witch from Mercury great, which was its characters, some mobile suit dueling, a little bit of background and lore on the series, not to mention a nice hook at the end of the series that's going to get viewers to continue watching. This one just felt really rich with content, and I loved that. It also really helps that there was a brand new Gundam introduced in this episode, and the Pharact itself looks just so damn cool. I love the design of it. Very different than the actual Ariel itself. It really does paint it as a more evil, robotic type of Gundam when compared to the Ariel, which is just so, well, superhero-esque, if that means anything. Basically, it's the exact juxtaposition to everything the Ariel is, and I really like that, and I can only imagine what their duel is going to be like, how it's going to take place, and more importantly, who's gonna win? But I guess that'll be the discussion of the week. I'm gonna leave that to you guys in the comments section. For me, this was a 5 out of 5 episode. I simply just loved this one. Action-packed, heartbreaking, great character moments, and just an ending that makes me want to see the next episode immediately. But how did you guys feel about it? Did you love it? Did you hate it? What do you think of the big development happening? What do you think is gonna happen in the big battle between Suletta and Elan? Make sure to sound off in the comment section below, and that's it. Thank you guys for watching this review. I'll see you all next time, and as always, stay dandy, baby.